So you finish your mock-up, it's time to use them to cut out clay. Did you do everything you needed to from your sketch check? Did you do the brainstorm? Did you do a vessel sketch 1 and a vessel sketch 2, the one of your mock-up? Did you then get that scored by me, Miss Szymanski? The last thing is make sure you did your large drawing. You're going to need that later. Do not take this apart if you haven't done that drawing yet. If you've done all that, it's time. Let's take the mock-up apart carefully. Remember, minimum tape was meant so we could take it apart easily. But if it's sticking, you can use scissors and you can trim right in between, but don't cut your mock-up. Make sure you do this carefully. Get as much tape off as you can. I have obviously sped up the video. You're going to go slowly. Make sure you keep track of all your mock-up pieces. Also, make sure your name, table number, and period numbers on each. If not, fix them or add them. All my pieces have that, so I'm collecting those and keeping them handy. Remember that slab from earlier that we rolled for practice? It wasn't practice. We're using it. Take it out of your bin carefully. I like to flip my bin over. Notice how I always support my clay when flipping it over. All right, I'm laying out my clay. Remember that paper towel? Throw that out. We have fresh ones. First thing is I'm going to figure out how many pieces can I get cut out of this one slab. If I line up edges, I think I can get out 4. Now you'll need your box of tools. You're responsible for these. Make sure all of the tools are there. Remember, there's a photo underneath. The only one you'll need right now is the needle tool. We'll use that for cutting out. Remove all your template pieces except for the first one you want to do. Line it up so you can maximize that clay. You're going to work slowly. Don't press hard. You're going to notice that I'm also supporting the construction paper right along the edge. It's going to take you not just one time to trace around it, probably 2, maybe 3. Don't press so hard that you're digging into the mat underneath. Yep, I was able to get it all the way cut through. If you have any center areas cut out, go ahead and do those at the same time. So again, don't press hard, support your construction paper, and cut all the way through. You will repeat this process for every template piece. Set your pieces cut out aside so that they are safe. I like to put mine in my bin while I'm working. The next template piece you're going to do, you're going to line up with an edge somewhere. So I've lined it right up with the edge so I can get the most out of this slab. Again, multiple slices, don't press hard. Support your construction paper. So far, I have 2 cut out. I think I can get 3 out. I didn't set my template pieces up the same way I'd planned it, so now I'm only getting 3 pieces and not 4. Setting my pieces aside. I'm going to need to roll out a new slab, so I'm going to knead up that old clay and then add in some extra. Make sure you've kneaded well, at least 15 times to make sure those pieces of clay are mixed well. I'm kneading, and then we're going to do our wedging, which is the tap, tap, turn. Always make sure your mat is nice and clean by scraping. I need this to get a little bit thinner, so I'm going to use my dowel rod. I'm not pressing hard. I'm rolling, and then I'm flipping, trying to move it to a slightly drier spot on my mat. Here's my goal. I want this to get as thin as the width of 2 slab sticks. I think I did pretty good there. Now I'm going to actually start to roll the slab, which means I'm going to set it down in between 2 slab sticks and start rolling. It's like a rocking motion starting from the center of the clay. Notice I roll and then I flip it over. I want to be able to fit these 2 on there. I'm going to turn it sideways so I can get it a little bit wider, but I'm going to constantly flip. Remember, we have a learning target of learning how to roll out a slab with consistent thickness. So I keep rolling until no more clay can be pressed out. I want the clay to have the thickness of those slab sticks. Now I can easily cut out my last two pieces, but notice I'm still trying to maximize my clay. Okay, we're going to have to pack these up. While I was working, I just had them stacked in my bin, but when I'm going to put them away, I don't want them to get stuck to each other. So I'm going to cut out some extra pieces of white paper and make sure that there's paper in between any two that I have to stack. Remember, I'm sharing this bin with my neighbor, so they're going to need that other side. Don't just get rid of this extra slab. If your neighbor used the same slab sticks, then theirs would be the same width and they could use it, save them some time. So make sure any extra clay goes back into the return clay bin, and make sure all your pieces, don't leave any out, have been put away. Don't forget to put the damp paper towel over top once your neighbor's pieces are in. Securely put on your lid. We cannot lose these template papers. Stack them up neatly so they're all nice and lined up. And then you're going to staple these to the back of your white sketch paper. You're going to need them at the end. So I went to the back of my sketch paper. I'm going to use one staple, not two or three, and I'm going to staple them to the back so that you can easily flip through them. So on the back side, I'm just going to double check they're all in there, none are going to fall out. And I'm going to set that aside for later. I'm going to return the in-process bin. I'm going to return all my tools, making sure that they're all in there by checking that photograph. We're one step closer to completing our vessel.